2, 3, 4.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this, our 45th episode of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. I'm one of your hosts, the Brazilian Mountaineer and Transition Ninja, coming at you live from Summersville, West Virginia, Lucas Ham Swisher. And with me also, the judge, the jury, the executioner of fake news and spoilers, Patrick Novosel.
Yo.
And also with us, the volleyballing beast of the East who can make you laugh in 3 words or less, Ronnie Johantis. Tasty. And our final member of the GMG Quadfecta, the man with music in his heart, Doctor Who on his brain, and La Coretta in his El Estomago, Marc Boucher.
I'm just so glad that I bought this huge bulk supply of tissues from Sam's Club the other day. So, Ronnie, you can totally have them.
I don't believe
What does that mean? How many did you buy?
Is that a crate of tissues?
Yes.
Yeah, a skid?
It's a pallet.
A skid of like 48.
It's a whole
A
pallet.
skid?
It's a whole pallet, yeah.
The whole
They
pallet
delivered
of
it via
tissues.
forklift.
Literally had to rent a forklift and get that to my house because you just never know. So,
All right, honey, we're getting a U-Haul. It's going to cost us $300 to rent this, but we need these tissues.
But we are going to save $50.
Know how
order.
Ronnie can blow his nose using your tissues. Does he just like shove his nose to the microphone and blow out and you will hold the tissues up?
listen, a friend in need deserves puffs indeed. So, just saying.
Amen.
Oh, man.
Amen. Folks, if this is your first time joining us on this fine, snotty podcast, welcome. We are so glad you came. Don't worry, what Ronnie has is not contagious. It's gross, but not contagious.
It is
And if
contagious,
it's-
just not
it is
virtually.
Not virtually contagious. So you listening right now, you're going to be fine. We, on the other hand, we're not sure about that. But if it's not your first time joining us, welcome back. Thank you so much. You have weathered some of the greatest storms in podcast history with us, and it continues on as I made these guys wait an extra 40 minutes trying to figure out how to use the internet in this fine church chapel campground that I'm at right now in southern West Virginia. It is quite the adventure that I've been on. But before we get into that, I don't want to hog all the fun. We're going to jump right into what's new news, and we're going to have our sick friend Ronnie start us out.
Awesome.
Ronnie, what's up, man?
Well, I have been sick. I woke up last Tuesday with a sore throat. And so far that has transitioned from sore throat to congestion to continued congestion until now.
Oh, my.
So I'm just really stopped up. Unfortunately, the congestion comes with like everything else. Like when I get congested, like I get headaches like a lot, just from blowing my nose, like stuff like that. So I'm not feeling great. That's for sure.
We know you don't really sound that bad. I think you sound pretty good. Like when I was sick a couple of weeks ago, I sounded like Shaft, but not a good version, like a dying version of Shaft.
Like white
That
shaft.
is good. Every time I'm not talking, I'm doing like this. And
Yes. Patrick's going to love to edit that out. Or at least
well, I
pretend to
have
be
been
editing it out.
working the mute button here so that everybody can't hear all of it because it's pretty gross. But other than being sick, I still carried on with the week. So this past week, I watched another episode of Firefly. I think I'm up to 10. So I got like 4 episodes left. I may be up to 11. Now I'm not too terribly sure, but still really liking that show. I'm hoping to get through with that. I did. You guys will be happy to know that I talked with my girlfriend about my Marvel movie commitment, and she wants to go through and watch all of them in order.
Yes, more accountability.
We got some accountability.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So she really wants to do that. which drastically increases the likelihood of me actually doing it. If I am just by
by
myself.
by what percentage would that be an increase of?
So me by myself, there's probably, I'd say maybe 32% likelihood out of 100 that I would have done it. Even with 6 months to go, likelihood's still not great. And now that she's a part of it, probably like 37%.
Wow, that's a big increase.
We're really knocking the door down here now. No, but we probably will do it. We watch a lot of movies and shows and stuff, so.
Now, does she also know about your commitment to watch Superman that you have not watched for 39 straight weeks?
No, I haven't mentioned that yet.
Oh, we need to remedy that. Maybe send her a little message.
You guys are gonna have to find a way. You're gonna have to find a way to get a hold of her because I'm not about to mention that one.
Challenge accepted.
No, she's actually aware of the Superman thing, but I don't really think she wants to watch Superman that much. So that's probably not good. It's not good for the cause.
Uh-oh.
But other than that, I did play volleyball this weekend on Friday and Sunday. I played the volleyball tournament. It was our league tournaments for Sunday, and I had 2 of them, and lost the first one pretty miserably, and then won the second one. So did pretty good. But other than that, I've been kind of trying to just kind of take it easy. Like being sick just sucks. So I've been like napping a lot.
Yeah, it does.
I actually was sleeping and I set an alarm for tonight. I was already asleep. So I set an alarm for like 9:30 to get up and get ready to do the podcast.
Well, thanks for being a trooper and sticking with us, even if you wanted to punch me in the face.
Yeah, I virtually want to punch you in the face. Not in real life, though. It's not as bad.
Oh, so sweet.
Maybe not punch you in the face, just like that GIF I sent. Just maybe slap you around a few times.
Slap me around a little bit. I'd accept that.
But no, that's pretty much it for my week. I'll let somebody else tell us something good.
Yeah.
Something less mucus filled.
How about you, Tissue Boy? What's going downtown in Virginia?
Tissue Boy.
The big tissue salesman of Lynchburg, Virginia.
Great, I got another thing to add to my nicknames list.
Yes. You blow it, Marc wipes it.
That's
I
awkward.
could just imagine like a T crest like on his chest as he like flying around with like a tissue as his cape.
It actually just is a tissue. It's like one-ply tissue.
Just a small
cape.
tissue. It only goes to his like shoulder blades. It doesn't go all the way down his back.
I literally like have to tape a tissue to the back of my neck. Oh goodness. So yeah, this week's just been pretty chill for the most part, other than just visiting my dad in the hospital. So it looks like he's kind of progressing. So he's been able to feed himself. So that's been awesome. Seeing as over the past couple of weeks, he hasn't been able to do that at all. He hasn't been able to move his arms or legs, period. So that's an improvement, and his speech has improved. So it's just a matter of continuing the antibiotics through his system to flush out all the infection. Like I mentioned previously, that's going to take several weeks to do. And then there's the subject of bypass surgery. The doctors are recommending it. My family is super about like natural everything. So they're trying to figure out a way to maybe clear the blockage naturally, which I don't know if they'll find something effective. I don't know. But, ultimately, that's something that's my dad's choice. I can't really make him do one thing or the other. But hopefully we can figure something out. But he's been doing okay. He's been maintaining, which has been really good. Last night, so I guess to go back a couple of weeks, an exciting thing was that my mother-in-law actually got her doctorate degree. She had to defend her dissertation, which was on the role of grandparents in basically supporting kids in Christian schools, their grandkids in Christian schools. Excuse me. And that was her big dissertation that she had to develop and defend and all that kind of stuff. And
so, real quick, Mark, when you say defend, did she have to use weapons of any kind, like nunchucks, or
she uses her mind.
I imagine her with like with a sword and shield.
So she's like a Jedi?
Yep. Have at thee! No.
I have never heard a Jedi say that.
How about the?
Well, no, I was going back to the
was a sword reference.
not the Jedi.
Have at thee, you person.
Oh, excuse me. Hello there.
Yeah.
But no, she basically has to present her findings about the study because she had to do a huge study, interview all sorts of people about this whole subject, and she basically had to present her findings to this committee, this board, and they basically have to ask questions about it to sort of make sure that the findings, that the whole of the study is solid to the point where they can recommend her becoming a doctor. And so she did. So she is now a doctor of education.
Yeah, nice.
So
Nice.
Shout
She
out.
successfully defended grandparents around the world, and they are thankful.
Yes.
What a
We should give her a
superhero.
superhero. Exactly. Let's give her a superhero name like I don't know.
The defender of grandparents.
Yes. That works. Gmaw's Defender.
It's a good thing
Defendagram.
we just don't make up names on this show. It's a good thing we talk about other stuff.
That is a good thing. That is not my day job. All right, have to find a new one.
Yeah. So anyway.
Ooh, the geriatric defender. How about that? I just came up with it.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Fantastic.
So the geriatric defender
That
got
is
her
good.
doctorate. And so shout outs to her for getting that because she's been working on that for a really long time. And all that to say, to kind of celebrate the fact that she got her doctoral degree, she was like, you know what? I'm going to do something that's kind of like a bucket list thing. And she found out from my wife that a Christian music singer, her name is Amy Grant.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Some of you
Classic.
some of you may
Christian
know
music.
her. She's basically one of the pioneers of contemporary Christian music. She'd been around for a long time, and she was playing here in Lynchburg.
She's probably a grandparent too, so it's
She
very
is
appropriate.
definitely a grandparent, actually.
She do that.
And so she was playing here in Lynchburg, and my mother-in-law decided, well, you know what? I'm going to buy all of us tickets. So it was my father and mother-in-law, my brother and sister-in-law, and then my wife and I. She bought us all tickets to go, and then she bought her and my father-in-law VIP tickets so that she would be able to go
Ooh.
to the meet and greet. So she was able to meet Amy Grant, which was awesome.
Awesome.
She was super
That's
excited
cool.
about that, and then they got really super nice seats. Like, like in an old style theater, how like you have those like not the balcony seats, but like those like those separate booth type seats in the air. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You mean like the
Yeah.
one
To the
Abraham?
side?
You mean like the one Abraham Lincoln was sitting in?
Yes.
Got
Nice.
it.
Only a lot less getting shot at.
That's a plus.
So yeah, they had that type of seating because the theater that we saw her in was they had done like a whole bunch of renovations. Like that theater had been around for at least 100 years, I think, something like that. And so this was very much an old school theater that they had completely, restored back to its former state with obviously some modern updating, but it's absolutely beautiful in the place. She did a great job. Amy Grant did. it's amazing how many Amy Grant songs I knew. I was like, oh yeah, she did sing that. Oh yeah, she sang that one. It's kind of like,
that one too. You're like Patrick before with Toby Mac.
yeah. Like I forgot, like I knew at one point she sang a lot of those songs, but I'm like, oh yeah, that's Amy Grant. That's her. Okay, yeah. Yeah, wow, she wrote a lot of hit songs. And she actually jumped back and forth between Christian and mainstream music as well. So she's like in all sorts of different realms. She's had all sorts of hit songs, but she did an awesome job. It was a great concert. The funny thing was, like, 2 minutes before the concert was supposed to start, the fire alarm went off.
Oh, jeez.
So everybody had to evacuate, which getting into that building and getting seated is not an easy thing, because especially, like, we had balcony seats, and so you have to, like, climb all sorts of different stairs just to get to your seat. And so they have fire exits, of course, but then, of course, they shut the fire exits, so you couldn't go back that way, so you had to go back the normal way. And thankfully it wasn't that long that we were outside. It was actually pretty quick. They're like, nope, false alarm. Y'all can go back in. I'm like, okay. So the show started about 20 minutes late. But everything was okay and taken care of. But it was a great time. My mother-in-law certainly had a great time with it. On the gaming side of things, just Apex. All Apex.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Still
rocking that season 2 of Apex, eh?
Yeah, trying to grind out the battle pass as much as possible. I'm loving doing all the challenges, because it makes you branch out a lot. Because if you know me at all, like, I constantly play as the character Wraith in the game. I love her particular, skill set in terms of her ultimate and her abilities and all that kind of stuff. And I just tend to be good with her. So I stick with what I'm good with. But this really makes you sort of branch out, because it's like you have to get a certain amount of headshots as this character, or get a certain amount of knockdowns as this character, or whatever. So it makes you really expand, and not just in characters, but also with weapons as well, because it's like get a certain amount of headshots with shotguns. Well, I tend to run a lot of like light machine guns or things like that, so I don't always grab shotguns. So that kind of stuff, it really pushes you, and for lack of a better word, challenges you. And obviously it helps you up your battle pass level a lot faster. So, but I'm having a great time with that. And that's pretty much me, pretty much my week. Patrick, how was your week, sir?
Hello. Well, I went camping this weekend.
You went camping?
Ooh.
And like I've said before, camping is not my thing, so I went against my will, and
they dragged you out of the house. And you were
basically,
like, no,
yeah.
I don't want to.
You should stop hanging out
So
with
I
Will.
went on Friday through Sunday, and we get there Friday, and it's about an hour drive, so it was pretty close. Some of the campsites we've gone to, it's like an hour and a half, 2 to 3 hours. So only being an hour away was nice. When we get there, I immediately have an allergy attack.
Oh no!
So I'm blowing my nose for the entire day, every 3 minutes, to the point where my nose starts to get really red and raw because of how much I've been blowing my nose. And I realized at the end of the day, I'm allergic to camping.
There it is.
Nice.
So I
Must
mean,
be
like,
it.
yeah, exactly. That's the only logical reason why I was blowing my nose. So I slept for probably 4 hours during the day in our tent, and just because I took a Benadryl because it was just knocking me down. So I had to take a Benadryl so I could sleep a little bit and get my nose to stop running. It was awful. But then on Saturday morning, it felt a little better. And we went. There's a pool at this campsite. So we went over to the pool and we hung out there for a few hours, which was nice. It's the first time I've actually gone swimming at a pool while camping, so that was pretty cool. I'm not entirely sure if other campsites have those or if we've never done it before. I mean, it was like 95 degrees outside, and walking trails was not really an option because of how gross it was outside. So going to the pool was a great choice. So that was awesome. And then we came home on Sunday. But other than that, the camping was the big thing that happened this weekend. So Marc had sent me a text this past weekend about this movie coming out on Kickstarter that's called The Legend of the White Dragon. And it stars...
Sounds epic.
So Marc knows, and he's a big fan of the Power Rangers as well. So I'm a huge Power Rangers fan. I've always been. And this Legend of the White Dragon is a Kickstarter by Jason David Frank, which is the original Green Ranger, and then Johnny Young Bosch, which was the second Black Ranger. And they are putting this together, and they put together like a 2.5 minute trailer, like a teaser trailer. And I don't know if they're going to have the rights to use the Power Ranger name. I'm not entirely sure. But it was like
it's a fan film, so they have the ability to do it.
Okay.
Really?
All right.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it was like they want to have it released in 2020. And I was mulling over the fact that, if you want to, see this movie or whatever, you can back it. And it was like $25 to back this movie, get an HD download of the film, and get a soundtrack from the film. And today I was like, yep, I am backing this because I want to see this. The goal that they have is like $500,000. And they said that the average Marvel Netflix season episode is like 3 million. And they only want 500,000. So I was like, you know what? Who cares? I'm gonna back this and see what happens.
Huh. Where are they at right now?
I think it was at. It just started, so I think they're at 75,000 right now, or around there. So I'm pumped about this. I want to see this. I want to see a true like fan film Power Rangers movie. So I decided to back it. It was the first Kickstarter that I've ever backed before.
Really?
So shout out to Marc for letting me know about that, because
that's cool.
That is right up my alley.
Yeah, man. It's being done by Bat in the Sun. They're a production company that does a lot of fan films. They do. I don't know if you've seen them on YouTube at all. They're called the Superpower Beatdowns.
Those are so good.
Yeah, they do a great job with them. And so I'm excited to see this for sure. Jason David Frank has worked with them before on the Superpower Beatdown stuff, so he's familiar with them for sure. And they have Jason David Frank. They have, like you said, Johnny Young Bosch. They also have a couple of other Rangers from other seasons of Power Rangers. Like if you watch the actual kind of like a trailer for the show, they had 2 other Rangers. The Red Ranger from it's gonna come to
Space?
Me. Not Space. I don't know. It's gonna come to me. Time Force. Time Force. Jason Font. He was the Red Ranger. And I am completely spacing her name.
It's Gia from Megaforce.
Yeah. Okay.
My daughter pointed that out. I was like, I don't know who that is. She's like, that's Gia from Megaforce. I'm like, all right.
Raising her right.
Yeah. Raising a nerd.
Yeah. But yeah, they have a bunch of Power Ranger actors in the show, in this particular thing that they're making. I believe Jason David Frank's actual daughter is going to be on the show.
Nice. That's cool.
So yeah, I'm really excited about this, and plus, I mean, just from the 5-minute trailer they showed, it looked really cool. So I'm excited to see see what they do with this for sure.
Yeah, and it's not like you could tell it is lower budgeted. It's like B movie kind of budget, but that's totally fine with me. I mean, Power Rangers were B budget anyways. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Now, hold on, Patrick. So, couple of things to touch on, and they actually kind of tie into some of our listener questions. First off, Tim Paullin asks, "Do you have any
Timmy?
Yeah.
Timmy.
Do you have any camping tips?"
Don't go camping.
Yeah, I figured you would be the master of all things camping, so you would have some useful tips.
So what we do is we actually bring an air conditioner with us. So
roughing it, man! Look out!
Yeah. Well, I want to be able. I don't want to. I mean, like, I don't know if you've seen that Jim Gaffigan. I think I've said it before. There's a Jim Gaffigan bit where he's like, "I never went camping as a kid because my parents loved me." And he's like, you know, like when they say happy camper, it's not in a positive connotation. It's always negative. It's like, oh, he's a happy camper. It's like, when is that camper happy? They should just be a camper.
Huh. That's true. I never thought about that. That's a astute observation.
Yeah, people used to. Yeah, what? Oh, we can go sleep out on the ground, and we have to pay for that. Wow, where do I sign up?
So the biggest tip for camping is don't.
No, but I mean, like, what we do is, you know, we make sure that we have all the things that we need. You know, like the s'mores is a must. We bring a stove, a butane stove, so we make actual food. It's not just like hot dogs and everything. We had walking tacos. You know, we just had like cups and Fritos, and we just made some taco meat, and so it's not like the normal camping food. Just something easy that we can make, that it's not just like, hey, we're gonna make hot dogs and burgers. I mean, we'll make pizzas, you know, homemade pizzas. We'll make what else do we make? Grilled cheese. You know, well, whatever you can make on a stove, we'll make. We normally don't have hot dogs whenever we go, but the air conditioner is one of the biggest reasons why I reluctantly go. Is because when it's 95 degrees out and you can get in your tent and it's in the 70s, it is so much better, so much more easier to manage when it's cooler away from the heat. Definitely go to a place where there's a pool. I mean, go if you're going to be going there during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Nice.
those are some small camping tips. Air conditioner, number one.
There you go.
Tips from Camping Boy.
Yep.
The new superhero for campers.
Nice.
Thanks.
And so second listener question that actually ties into what we were just talking about in your update. I figured I would push it here. Our buddy Delvin Cox on Twitter today. He posed a question.
Hey, Delvin.
He posed a question, and to me this is one of the ultimate questions. And I was very interested in talking about it, and we can keep it brief since I know you're kind of still talking about, you know, your update and stuff. But I just figured cool. Since you mentioned Power Rangers, that I would put this in here. So Delvin Cox asked the question, Power Rangers or Voltron? So Patrick, I will let you have the floor first.
Okay, so Power Rangers number one, obviously. When I was growing up, it was Power Rangers. I didn't know about Voltron until like pretty recently that Voltron was before Power Rangers. However, I mean, if you're talking cats versus dinosaurs, I mean, come on, who are you gonna pick?
Well, technically they're
honest.
lions, even though they look
They're
like
cats.
tigers.
They're cats.
You use good logic, Patrick.
Yep. I
So
like
Power Rangers for me.
it. Okay. So my vote is definitely for Power Rangers. Although Voltron is pretty cool. And I used to have was weird. I had one of the lions. I didn't have the whole set when I was a kid. For some reason, I just had one of them, and it was the blue lion that belongs to the princess, that she drove. And so,
Is that the real name for it? Blue Lion.
I think it is actually. You laugh, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I call upon the Blue Lion. I'm calling upon the Yellow Lion. Let's go.
Yeah, I know. It's lame.
See?
So I watched a video. I can't remember the name of the group that did it, but it's kind of like a superpower beatdown kind of thing where they pit the Megazord versus Voltron, and
Yeah,
they
it's
provided
from,
all sorts of...
Ismahawk, I think.
What's that?
Ismahawk.
Something like that.
They did like a Nightwing series, like a 6-episode Nightwing series, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so they did a video like that where they basically created a scenario where the Megazord and Voltron fought, and Voltron ended up winning. And they provided all these factual scenarios to sort of make their point. And the one thing that they failed to mention, they mentioned that the Megazord's kind of slow and bulky and kind of stuff.
Wait, are you always supposed to say the Megazord? Is that the proper?
Well, you can say the
English?
Megazord or Megazord either way.
I don't want to say it wrong, so I just.
I mean,
to make
you're
sure.
good either way.
Okay, thank you.
I'm glad we could clear that up. But in any case, here's the fact: number one, all they have is Voltron. They don't have any other Zords. It's just Voltron. And number two, they don't have powers. They're just in flight suits. They don't have any powers whatsoever. You got the Power Rangers that, number one, have powers outside of their Zords, and number two, have more than one Zord. You've got the Megazord, the main five. Then you've got the Dragon Zord. Then you've got Titanus.
And you got the Dragon Megazord.
Yeah, the Thunder Megazord. And you've got
the Tissue Megazord.
Yeah, that's it.
And the Camping Megazord. You got lots of Zords.
The Tissue Megazord is literally just 5 pieces of tissue stacked on top of each other.
I've never been more lost in my life.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, the point is they have multiple Zords that they could call upon, whereas they just have Voltron. That's all they have. So
that's all they need.
I would disagree with that. It's not all they need. So yeah, all that to say, Power Rangers, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to say, kind of like, I think we're all, well, I know we're all of similar age. We're all in our 30s, and I just think Voltron was before our time, and then now the new Voltron's been rebooted and they have updated stuff, and I'm actually watching it with my kids right now, and I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I would say if I were to compare like the whole story and setup, Voltron versus Power Rangers in terms of animated versus live action, while I am entertained by sparks flying and people in huge suits like jumping around on a clearly like miniaturized stage of, a cityscape or something like that. In terms of the entertainment and story value, I definitely get more out of Voltron. I feel like as a kind of going out into space. Now I know with Power Rangers, they go all over the place, but I've only watched the original Power Rangers, so I only know the high school / Power Ranger battles and all that stuff. But even with that stuff, considering Power Rangers all the way, because that's like classic. It's goodness. Mm-hmm. So, Ronnie, how about you? You got a horse in this race? Or are you going to pick a third option that's totally random?
I think I'm on the wrong show. Somehow I got mixed up in like a different podcast than I intended on getting into. And I gotta be honest, I don't know where anything. Like I don't even know what my own name is anymore. I thought I was sick, but now I realize I'm really sick because I don't know even where I am anymore.
You know, the
we started
Power
talking
Rangers.
about Power Rangers. Like I somehow got onto the nerdiest podcast ever made.
Welcome. You know they play volleyball on Power Rangers. They don't have that on Voltron. So you might as well just,
Sure.
Now we're getting
keep a good
somewhere.
thing going. Is that more your style?
No,
Volleyball,
Still,
volleyball
It's like-
Megazord,
he's like,
volleyball
"No,
Zord.
not even here
I'll
right
be
now."
straight up honest. I watched the Power Rangers when I was a little kid, but I have gone back and seen little bits and pieces since I've been an adult. And I don't know if I'm the only one on this podcast, but that show sucks.
So would you say it's the Long John Silver's of TV shows?
I would
Jeez.
say it's more like the Steak and Shake of TV shows. I feel like
Top 5
we love you.
material.
We love you.
top
We
3
love you,
in
Patrick.
Patrick's world.
Oh man, it's great.
So, anyways, we can steer away from that. I just figured I would throw that in there. So, Patrick, do you have anything more to add about your week update?
The last thing I want to talk about is Apex. I mean, just like you, Mark, the only thing I've been playing is Apex. This season 2 Battle Charge is awesome. All the things that Mark said about changing things up, trying different legends, trying different weapons. It's awesome. It gives a different element to the game. It provides new freshness. I've been playing that, loving it. Loving it so much that last week that I guested on the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, Spencer Stapleton's podcast, who has just joined the Discord, mainly because he wants
Yeah.
to know
Welcome.
when people are going to be on Apex.
And Mark is always a guarantee, along
Yeah.
with Patrick.
Yep.
So that was a good time. But yeah, other than that, that is my week.
Oh, I totally forgot, by the way, to mention my video game update.
Yes, let's hear
Completely
it.
forgot this week, and my update is still nothing. Still haven't played anything.
I love
throw
that
that out
game.
Thank
there.
you.
Still not.
That was
Appreciate
so
that.
worth hearing about. Yeah, that was just a magical update. I don't even know if I can say anything to follow up on that. My life has not been that exciting. Is it my turn?
Yep, it is
Anyone
your turn.
else?
Yeah,
Is there
I'm
another
done.
fourth
Go
person?
ahead.
All right.
No
Go ahead,
follow-ups.
Lucas. You go ahead.
Yeah, Lucas, you go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Before I get into my update, though, I do want to just give a shout out and thanks to my GMG comrades of Marc, Patrick, and Ronnie, because for the past few weeks, if this is your first time listening, I am a missionary and I live in Brazil, but over the past few weeks, I have been traveling all over the US of A, and every week I'm in a new place. Every week I have different conditions. Every week I bring a new complication to recording. Sometimes they abandon me. Sometimes they wait it out. Tonight was one of the nights they waited out. So I just wanted to thank you guys again so much for your patience, bearing with me as I try to figure things out, try to balance family, responsibilities, church visits, just kind of trying to. I've struggled so hard staying a part of the Discord and keeping connected, but from time to time I pop in, send a little photo or give a little comment. But you guys are rocking it over there, and it really is great to keep connected either on the Discord or through our recordings every week. But for me, I have been in Ohio this past week and West Virginia. So last week I went to the Columbus Zoo, and there were some really cool moments. I don't know if you guys have been to a zoo lately or recently or are a fan of zoos. I imagine, Patrick, you having 2 kids, you have visited a few zoos over the years, maybe more
Yeah.
zoos than camping.
Yeah, we had Cincinnati Zoo passes for several years, and we've also gone to the San Diego Zoo, which is arguably one of
yes.
the best in the country. So yeah, we've
Yeah.
gone to many.
They have great capuchin monkeys, from what I hear on Friends with Ross Geller. You know him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyways,
Marcel was there too.
that's right. So we went to the Columbus Zoo, and we spent all the livelong day. Like, it wasn't sun up to sundown, but it was like from 10:30 all the way until, I want to say we left at like 8 o'clock. Like,
That is a long day.
That was a super long day, but it was so fun. Like one of the aspects of it that made it actually really fun, surprisingly, was my father-in-law. He's been having some knee issues. He actually had a knee replacement a couple years ago, and it's kind of bothered him. But this is the first time I've ever seen him do this. But he rented a little cart. One of those little, little electric
4
carts
volts?
you kind of drive around. Yeah, those 4-volt cars.
Rascal?
Yeah, a little rascal. And I actually got to drive that thing a few times because he got sick of riding in it sometimes. So they would just be like, hey, someone want to ride this? And so you see this like 37-year-old man just like scooting around at a whole like 7 miles per hour. I was rocking it out. And sometimes I'd ride it with my kids and just drive around. It was really funny. But some of the cool things that happened is hold
on. Did you get any looks when you were just riding this around with your kids?
Let me tell you. At one point, my father-in-law he was just like, I don't want to ride this thing right now. He's kind of he's just a proud guy. Like, he doesn't like to show weakness very much. And so I could tell that he was only kind of half-heartedly. He knew he needed to use the cart, but he didn't want to. So there were just times where he'd be like, you know what, I'm walking. And nobody else wanted to take care of it. So I was like, I'll ride it. And so there was one time that I drove it right into the aquarium. And like strangers had to open the door for me to hold it so I could get through. And they were just like, I know they were looking at me with judgmental eyes. It's like, does this guy really need to drive this?
He's not handicapped.
He is a liar. But some things that happened, we went to the Mexican wolf section. I don't know if you've seen many Mexican wolves. I don't remember. I've been to the Columbus Zoo before, but I thought it was so random that their wolves were specifically Mexican.
Yeah, what's the difference?
They run around with little sombreros on their head. No, I'm just kidding. Just like that. They had to play a little mariachi band. Play little instruments. No, but we went up to this wolf section. I don't know. It was a wolf enclosure, and there was nothing. It was like the beginning of Jurassic Park, when they go to like the Dilophosaurus cages, and it's talking about the dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs don't show up. It was kind of like that, and it was like the whole family was disappointed because that's like my wife's favorite animal. My kids really like wolves. I like wolves, and so we were just like so excited to go to this wolf enclosure, and there was nothing. Trees, grass. It was nice to see the grass since we don't have it in Brazil, but like it was just nothing. So we left without getting to see the wolves. And then at the end of the day, the very last thing we did, we happened to walk by the wolf enclosure, and we were like, let's try one more time to see the wolves. And we were standing there, and all of a sudden, someone yelled out, I see wolf puppies. And we saw in the back corner 4 little wolf puppies. And they were like playing together. It was so cute. I mean, I know I'm a man, but like I just saw these little wolf puppies, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want one. And like they were just playing together. And after like 5-10 minutes, we were watching, and the mom comes out. The mama wolf comes out, and she's not that much bigger than, like, apparently Mexican wolves are kind of smaller. They almost look like a coyote. And those 4 Mexican wolves like attacked the mom. Like I think they were hungry, and they like jumped on top of her and like were trying to not eat her, but eat mama's milk. And she was like running from them. I was just like, and that, my friends, is why you do not have 4 kids. You stick with 2. You do not go to 3. Do not go to 4. 2 is sufficient. But it was really funny just to see that, and everybody was laughing. The other thing that was funny that happened was that we went to the mandrill. I think they're called mandrills. They look kind of like baboons. They got like a baboon or a monkey. They got kind of the blue face and then the red butt. I'm probably messing that up. Mark, you can correct me if you happen to Google it. But anyways, we were at this baboon-like section, the mandrills, as I'm remembering them being called. And I went like right up to the glass and sat down, kind of to look at the mandrills, and then also talk to my son who was looking at these primates. And all of a sudden, one of the monkeys just like lunged at me, and then just sat down and stared at me like eye to eye. Like all I had between us was glass. And it was just this moment, and it just kind of looked at me, then it looked away, then it looked at me again and stared, and then it just ran away. And I was like, whoa, that's like the only time in my life I've ever had a zoo animal like just try to, I don't know, like just react to me or stare into my soul. It was crazy. But it was really cool. And then the last thing that happened at the zoo that I'll mention is that at the zoo, probably the only real disappointment that happened that we never really got to take full advantage of was there was a dinosaur section. And as I've mentioned in the past, my son is all into dinosaurs. And they have like a little water ride. It's not a water ride, but it's like a fake river journey where you get to see all these animatronic dinosaurs. And my son was pumped. And because he was pumped, we were all pumped. And we went to this little dinosaur river ride, and they're like, oh, sorry, the ride's broken. And we're like, what? We want our money back. No, we weren't like that, but we were very disappointed. But one thing that was cool that worked out was that a lot of the animatronic dinosaurs were like, they were kind of like, you could still see them and you could still look at them amidst the other like actually real animals and exhibits and all that stuff. And each time we got to a dinosaur, I kid you not, my son knew within 5 seconds what each dinosaur was. Like, he would call it out. And he was like, I was so proud of him. And at one point, I totally doubted him. He said this name that I had never heard in my life. It was like Thurvavasaurus or Thoraxosaurus, or I don't even remember. He's told me like 20 times, and he kept correcting my pronunciation of the name of the dinosaur. I should really know it. But there was one point where he said the name, and I just called him out. I was like, you are making up names. I do not believe you.
Fake news.
Fake news. I'm pretty sure I said that too. And it's like, he got really mad, and he's like, Dad, I'm serious. It's called a rolla. And then I'm just like, whatever. And we walked around, looked at the sign, and it was exactly the dinosaur that he said it was. And from that moment, I was like, you are the dinosaur king. Like, I never have known the names of dinosaurs like he's known them. So that was just a really fun thing. That was a fun part of the zoo visit. But we had a nice fun day there at the zoo. And then eventually we made our ways to West by God, Virginia, almost heaven, West Virginia. And it was, and is, because I'm still in West Virginia, a magical time. We actually, my in-laws and my parents, well, actually just my dad, because we didn't have enough space in the truck to take all of our stuff and all of our family. So my mom sat this one out. But they met us halfway, pretty much on the state line between Ohio and West Virginia. And we met at a Bob Evans, and it was easily 60 degrees inside of the restaurant. And I thought I was going to get hypothermia. No, it probably wasn't 60 degrees, but I don't know if you've ever been in those restaurants where no matter where you sit, the air is blowing on you. And I felt like I was in Antarctica. So I had to run out. It was like 95 degrees at this point. So I ran outside and got a hoodie from our stuff. And I put the hoodie on, ran through the parking lot. People thought I was probably a weirdo. And I went back into the Bob Evans and ate my wildfire chicken salad, because that is my favorite salad of all time and my favorite meal at Bob Evans. But after we had that nice meal at Bob Evans, got to see family, hang out with family. One thing that I've been doing like a madman, both in Ohio, West Virginia, and with family and friends alike, is playing Exploding Kittens.
Yeah,
Nice.
buddy.
Every chance I get, I'm like, so we're not talking about anything important. Want to play Exploding Kittens? And people have had a lot of fun. Now, I will say, I just got the first expansion. I got Imploding Kittens, which was kind of cool. I like the Imploding Kitten card, even though I was the receiver of it the very first time we played with the expansion pack. Not cool. But it was really fun. I definitely want to get the second expansion pack, Streaking Kittens, because I love that Streaking Kitten card. But one thing I do not like, and I've recognized this like in playing it with different people and different family members, is I do not like the addition of the directed attack. It's not what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. It's the you can pretty much attack whoever you want. Like when you usually when you usually play it, you usually attack the person who's next in turn. Mm-hmm. But this time we have the directed attack, and I don't like it because people start ganging up on each other, and then people really take stuff personally. I don't know if you've had this experience, Mark, but some people cannot not take things personally when you play a game.
I don't know if I would say people. Mainly the people I play with are my family, and they don't really take it that personally. But
lucky you.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie? Ronnie, if you want to speak, you must unmute your microphone.
I had to hit the button like 10 times for it to unmute. A little bit of a hiccup, but all I needed to add to the conversation was that ostriches can run faster than horses.
How much faster?
I don't know.
What kind of fact person are you?
If you're going to bring facts to the table, my friend, you better make it. You better bring some knowledge with it.
I don't know about you, but I'd like to see this, like there's horse races. They go around the track. I'd love to see ostriches just doing that same thing.
There's an average of 50,000 spiders per acre in green areas.
Gross.
Burn it all.
Yeah,
burn it to the ground.
To the ground. Now, you know what I don't want to burn to the ground? It's one of my favorite foods. Do you guys know what my favorite food is? One of my favorite foods? I'm
Ostrich
not going to make
eggs?
you guess.
Ostriches is what I was going to go with also.
Definitely not. But I'm not going to make you guess anymore.
What is that pastry that you get in Brazil?
You'll never get it. Have you guys ever heard of ham loaf?
No. You would like
ham loaf. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's ironic that my middle name's Ham, and
like
I
you're
love
biased.
ham loaf, but man. So I don't think this is made outside of West Virginia, but my grandma used to make a mean ham loaf, and my mom has carried on that tradition, my stepmom. And ham loaf is pretty much ground ham, ground pork, mixed together like a meatloaf, and then you add egg and breading, and then you make it into a big old loaf, put it in the oven, and you cover it in brown sugar and goodness, like a brown sugar glaze. And you can't knock it until you try it, Patrick. I see the face.
Did you
the
just
listeners
have this?
can't look. I just had it like yesterday, day before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a good chance Patrick would like it because he likes everything, including Long John Silver's and Steak and Shake.
Oh, Long John Silver's also likes me because they just followed me.
They just followed you. Oh, lucky you. But
lucky me.
That's because you're one of 4 followers.
Yes. Yeah. If you go to the Long John Silver's Twitter page, their bio says, "Yes, I still exist."
That's hilarious. But yeah, guys, ham loaf is amazing, and I ate pretty much a metric crap ton of ham loaf, and it was so good. I recommend it. Google the recipe, try it out, and I guarantee if you don't like it, you can mail me what's left of the ham loaf, and I will eat it on a live Twitch stream.
Gross.
Shake on it.
How much is a crap
Shake
ton?
on it right now.
It's a metric
I don't
crap
know.
ton.
A metric crap ton. I don't know. I first heard it from Marc, so maybe he knows what a metric crap ton is.
2,000 pounds of crap.
Gross.
Well,
That is not ham loaf. All right,
It's
minus
weird.
crap.
Like I'm looking at a picture of it, and it kind of
a crap
like,
ton?
from a distance. Yes.
Yes. Gross. Imagine that
Why
smell.
no, Ronnie? You would be wrong in that assessment. No, I'm looking at a picture of ham loaf. And
I've never really looked at one online, but that's magical.
It looks like bread. It's weird.
Huh. That's weird. I think they made
Good
it wrong.
contribution, though.
that's Lucas's response. Huh.
Huh. I think they made that
as it should.
incorrectly. I guess. Now the
Seems
other
like
thing
a
that
random thing to say.
the other thing I know it does, but it's not so random yet. The other thing that I like to
okay.
eat that I have to mention that I know you guys will agree with me is today I stopped at Wendy's, and can you imagine what sandwich I got?
Spicy chicken.
Oh man, I got the spicy chicken sandwich. It's easily been 6 years since I've been to a Wendy's. I've actually been to the U.S. like a couple times since then, but I've never had the chance for some reason, or never taken the chance to go to Wendy's. And man, that spicy chicken sandwich, so good. So good. It was so good.
Yeah, it is.
But you know what else is so good?
Ham loaf?
The word.
No, that picture does not look appetizing. It looks like banana bread.
Yeah. For those that can't see
Gross.
it, Mark just posted a picture of what is supposed to be ham loaf, and it did look like bread, and that is not the ham loaf I know and love.
Also,
But-
Lucas, everybody cannot see it except for us four. Except for those who can see it, that would be everybody listening.
Everyone.
Well, it's quite possible that I knew that, and I was testing you. But thank you for calling me out on that.
So what else do you love, Lucas?
I love pandas. Do you know that pandas fake pregnancy for better care? They're like milking the Medicare system of zoos.
That's pretty good.
Do you
So
know
they're
why
like
I share that
raccoons.
with
They're
you?
trash pandas.
That's right. Do you know why I share that with you?
Because you went to the zoo.
Because like Ronnie, I too am a fun guy and like to be random, which is the topic for our show today. Randomness.
Oh, there it was.
That's right, folks. We are getting into randomness. This is our 45th episode, and every episode that ends in 5. I was trying to figure out some way to say that. Every episode that ends in 5, we all four bring something to the table to discuss and talk about amidst your questions, should they match or not match, because it's all about randomness. And I think given his state of mind and state of body, we should have our very own Ronnie Johantis lead the way with our first topic of discussion. So, Ronnie, what you got to bring to the table for today's topic of randomness?
All right. Yes, I do appreciate that, because after I talk, I may bail because I am leaking out of my nose, and there's nothing I can
thank
do
you,
to stop it.
thank you for telling us where
It
you're
is
leaking.
gross, and I actually trimmed my mustache down, so I did not get snot in it. Fun fact.
Yummy.
So my fun random idea is I want to know what animal and what insect are you most afraid of? And I will go first to give you guys some time. Animal is a snake of any kind. They are terrifying to me. This is something about the way they move. Like, they're just so creepy. I cannot do any snakes. Like, they scare the crap out of me. Like, I turn into a little girl when a snake is around. I don't want to be near it. I don't want to hold a snake. It's somebody's pet. I only want to be in the same house as a snake. When I'm cutting the grass, if I run across a snake, like, I don't even want to get close enough to, like, shovel them out of the way.
You don't try to run them over with the lawnmower?
I do, but most of the time, unless their head's sticking up, I mean, they just, like, they're lower than the grass, so it doesn't really
No,
help.
that's true.
Then once you run them over with the mower, they could come out any side of that, and that's scary. But no, I don't even want to get close enough with a lawnmower. And my insect is definitely spiders. And the funny thing is I just had an encounter today with a spider. Well, it was actually tonight before this podcast. I was going to run out to my car. And I've had the same thing happen before. So my front porch is a small like concrete like pad type deal. Maybe like, I don't know, 4 feet by 5 feet, that's covered. So a lot of times when I go out there at night and I flip the light on and I open the door, I will stick my head out and look on that concrete slab, because I have seen some of the biggest spiders right out there. They're just out there breathing the night air in, and I will literally not go past them. Not even a chance I'm walking out that way. I'll go out the other way.
I can imagine you just like going outside and then like running into like a spider web and then running right back inside.
Yeah.
Nope, don't like that.
That'd be an absolute nightmare. I would not do that.
Instant fetal
Today when it
position,
happened,
covered
it was
in
one of those.
spider webs.
Today when it happened, I opened the door, looked out. I'm glad I looked out because there was a giant spider on the porch, just sitting there doing nothing. It was one of those big spiders. It was all black, and it looked like it only had like 4 legs. They were just like 4 massively long legs. I mean, this thing was probably like 2 inches all the way around. Like, it was really big. And I was like, man, I don't... It's like I closed the door and actually left the light on the porch because I was hoping, like, I don't know, something would come down and eat it to get rid of it. Like, hopefully there's an owl in the area that's going to eat this thing or any other type of predator.
Start doing bird calls. You're like, hoo-hoo, ew.
I keep a spotlight on him for everybody out there to get him. Hey, he's right here.
You sound exactly like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, pretty much. So those are mine. Snakes and spiders. Pretty common, I feel like, but I'm terrified of snakes. And spiders, for me, it's only the big spiders. So, like, the small ones that, like, you'll see, like, in the corner, you know, like, if you're in your house, like, you'll see one that's, like, there. It's, like, a real tiny one. That doesn't bother me at all. I don't care about those. It's the big ones. Those scare the crap out of me. So what about you guys? Who wants to let's go first?
I get the spiders, but the insect that I am most afraid of is mosquitoes. The only reason I say that is because mosquitoes absolutely love me. Yeah. They all congregate around my ankles, and if I'm outside, that's another reason why I hate camping. Is because I'm out there in the wilderness.
Oh yeah,
and there's like
buffet.
I don't know, 500 million mosquitoes in my face. Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like to me, at least. So yeah, I hate them. Every time I go out, like I will wear pants. I will wear jeans. I'll wear long pants, no matter what the temperature is. And if it gets too hot, then I'll throw on some shorts. But my brother-in-law, he's like, he gauges how hot it is based on whether I'm wearing shorts, because if I'm wearing shorts or if I'm wearing pants, then I know the mosquitoes aren't going to get to me. But if I'm wearing shorts, then it's like free reign for all the mosquitoes to bite me. So I absolutely hate them. I don't want to be around them. I get a very huge satisfaction when I kill one. It's especially when they have, like, when you like splat a mosquito and there's like blood that comes out of them. Oh yeah,
most likely your blood.
I'm like, ha, suck it.
Probably somebody else's blood.
It's probably mine.
Yeah,
honest.
Pretty sure it was.
It's funny that you say suck it and you're talking about mosquitoes.
Exactly.
You should probably say past tense. You'd be like, haha, you sucked it.
You sucked it for the last time.
That's my villain voice. The last thing I say. And as far as animals, possums. Possums are gross. Have you ever seen them? Like, you were talking about how snakes move. You ever seen a possum move? They just like scurry away.
They're just
as soon
slow.
As soon as you turn on a light, they move like sloths. They're like moving away, and they like slither into like sewers and grates and underneath things. And if you ever seen like a possum like in the daylight, it is scary.
It's just a
like,
big rat.
You know something's mangy is going on with that possum if it's out in the daylight.
You know something interesting about possums that I saw one time? I was I can't remember, I was leaving like a park or something like late, and a possum crosses the road in front of me. So I stop and I let him cross the road. And there was a tree right in the grass, like just off the road. So he's just running in front of me, and then he just goes straight up the tree as if he was just walking on the ground. Did you even know that they could do that? Like, he didn't even miss a beat. He just went straight up, 90-degree angle, right up the trunk. I was not aware they could climb trees like that.
They're devil possum. That's
climbers.
What that is.
Yeah, demon spawn.
Well, I found out, like, after that, like, if you look it up, like, no, possums hide in trees all the time.
Yeah,
so they're all devil possums. Ah!
And that picture is terrifying.
For those that can't see, Patrick just posted a picture of a very demonic possum. I'm now going to have nightmares. Thank you, Patrick.
They're all demonic.
So they're really, actually, like, I'm not really that afraid of possums. Like, I think I've told you, I think I've even said on here before, like that the raccoons and stuff sometimes will get into my garage and like try to eat the cat food in there. So one time I walked out, I guess it was to throw something in my garbage can. It was like late at night, and like I heard a noise, and I look over, and like right on my workbench, there's a huge possum just sitting there, and he must have saw me coming because he straight up played possum and just froze. It was like just a statue of a possum there. I was like, man, is he gonna run away?
Nope.
Just looking at him like he's not doing anything, like he's not going anywhere. And I was like, yep, I'm just gonna leave him. I'm not gonna go over there and mess with him. I can tell you that. He was big.
I would have thrown like a spear at him.
Because you carry those around with
I didn't
you.
have any spears lying around at the time.
Mel, pass me my spear. I must kill this possum.
I just pulled an arrow from my back.
Have at thee,
Shot.
possum.
Wow.
All right, so my animal and insect. I have to say that overall, any animal that can like moves erratically or much faster than my eyes can follow, I'm usually afraid of. Like not afraid, like I have a fear of them, but I just am very, very, very uncomfortable. One of the animals that are very erratic is a bat. I'm afraid of them partly out of experiences I've had in the past. I don't know if I mentioned, but my family, we used to have a potbelly stove in our house, and eventually we got central air and got rid of the potbelly stove, so we had central heating and cooling throughout the house. But they did not properly close the chimney. So what they did was they insulated the chimney, not all the way, but most of it, and then my dad put pretty much a garbage bag over the hole of the chimney, and that is all. And eventually, bats found the chimney and decided to move in, and we didn't know this for many years. So what would happen is if we left a window open, bats would just randomly fly into our house. And immediately, I remember the very first time a bat flew into our house. My mom immediately, I think I was 6 years old, and my mom grabbed me and slammed me to the ground and threw a blanket over me, just screaming like she was in a horror movie. Just like, oh my gosh, there's a bat, oh my God. And she just went nuts. And I'm just like, that scarred me. So every time a bat got into our house, and I think growing up from 6 years old until 18, a bat got into our house like 4 times. And every time, no matter what my state of mind, as soon as I saw that blurry guy just flying around everywhere, I immediately hit the ground and just army crawl everywhere to escape the bat. Now, eventually, there were times, that someone was brave enough to get like a tennis racket and pop the thing on the face or open up a door, let the bat out. But, yeah, I'm definitely afraid of bats.
That's interesting because I was just at a nature center like a couple weeks ago. They have a bunch of trails and stuff to hike on, and in like their like little like the actual like shop in the middle of the nature center, they have the bat houses that you could buy, and the idea is to buy the bat house, put it up, and actually attract a bat or multiple bats to live at this thing.
Yeah.
And the benefit of them, Patrick, is that they can eat up to 2,000 mosquitoes in one night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually am on the exact opposite of Lucas in this, where I love bats.
They're kind of cool. Yeah, they're kind of cool.
For that reason alone. My wife's dad has a bat house on the top of his house.
How does that work
where he
for
puts
him?
He puts stuff up there, and there's nights where the entire family goes out there and bat watches.
Yeah.
And sees dozens of bats flying around. So yeah, they eat so many mosquitoes. There's not enough bats in the world to eat all the mosquitoes, but they do their part.
Yeah,
for sure.
That is
So
one of the reasons I'm thinking about actually getting a bat house. I have a brochure downstairs, for like all the benefits and stuff of having one. And like the only thing that I haven't figured out yet is where I would actually put the bat house, because there has to be like so much sunlight. It has to have like so many hours of sunlight, and everything like that. So I haven't figured out where I'm actually going to put it yet. But I think I'm actually going to get one.
I approve.
I kind of approve because when bats are outside, I definitely don't have like I said, I don't have a fear of them in terms of like I'm outside and I hear, the little ee, and I'm like, oh my gosh, bats are attacking us. It's never like that.
It's still different when they're outside versus flying around in your living room.
House. But I just
one of the things that I read was that obviously having the bat house puts them in much closer proximity to your house. So the likelihood of a bat actually flying in is a lot greater.
Oh, yeah, it's much greater.
But also, like, people were talking about how to, like, catch bats and stuff. And basically, the easiest way is to, like, get a net literally and just throw it over them.
You know what's funny, Ronnie? My dad just bought a, like, ginormous net, like, just for catching bats when they get into the house. He showed it to us earlier, and it looks like a butterfly net on steroids. It's easily like 2 feet in diameter, and it's huge. And I can just envision my dad trying to catch a bat with that huge of a net and just like knocking over lamps, hitting the walls, like screaming. I would just be screaming like, "Oh my gosh!" Now, one thing I mentioned about the chimney. At one point, they decided to tear the chimney down, but when they went to tear the chimney down, like 20 bats flew out of the chimney.
Wow, that's amazing. There was that many.
There were so many. It was like straight out of Batman. Like the Bat Cave was in there or something.
It would be an absolute nightmare if a bat actually got into my house. Because like now that Mark and Patrick have been here, like my ceilings in my living room are like 22 feet. It'd be impossible if one of the bats was up there. There'd be no way for me to get up there and get him.
Yeah,
I gotta have to wait him out.
Yeah, you would definitely have to do that. The insect that I'm afraid of, I guess in general, again, I don't like things that like fly faster than my eyes can keep aware of, but I definitely have a little extra nervousness around yellow jackets. As I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I was definitely the victim of a yellow jacket attack, and it was quite the experience that even now, like when I see yellow jackets, I get a little sweaty and get a little nervous. Most of the time you try to, I don't know if you guys do this, but you always have learned from adults. I think adults usually tell you, or people in general are like, don't bother them and they won't bother you. So like you're supposed to just sit there and ignore bees or things that are flying interested in your food. I have a really hard time with that. Like I want to just,
easier said than done.
It really is.
I want to beat the crap out of those yellow jackets and bees flying around. I'm like, this is my food, son. Step off.
Well, they do that thing where they fly like right in front of your face, and like it's hard to ignore that because it's right there, and they're kind of scary. I'm with you there. They're big.
Yeah, it makes me definitely nervous. So those would be that'd be my animal and insect. How about you, Mark?
So, interestingly enough, and you wouldn't think this would be normally something to be afraid of, but my animal would be deer, and let me tell you why.
Deer, okay.
Yeah, let me tell you why.
Tell us.
So, in this area, and I'm sure you guys have this issue in West Virginia too, but in Virginia, deer are everywhere.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what time of day they come out. They'll come out in broad daylight. And when you're in a city like Lynchburg and they just jump out in broad daylight in traffic, there's always a chance you can run into a deer.
Oh, so true. They're so skittish.
Yep. And deer are idiots. So they just run across at any time. And especially like a couple of times a week, I drive to, my church that's an hour away, and it's on a lot of back road. And it's notorious for having deer cross through. So praise God that I have not hit a deer yet going that way. I pray I never do. But it's always scary, especially when it just doesn't matter what place, what time of day, they just always just jump out. One time I watched, it was a busy 4-lane road, and I watched as it was like busy traffic, and this dude in front of me, we're driving the same direction. All of a sudden, a deer juts out in front of him, and he runs into the deer. The deer is literally doing like a helicopter type move, spins over into the other lane, where another vehicle coming by immediately runs into the deer and starts dragging the deer underneath his vehicle. And it was just the weirdest thing to see. And so that's
That is
why.
crazy.
Now, if I'm not in my car...
I've definitely seen that too.
Oh, yeah. If I'm not in my car and I see deer crossing, that's whatever. I don't care.
You're just like, oh my gosh, run away!
Have you ever seen the video of like the deer like attacking like a person though? That is terrifying.
Yes, they are not fooling around in those videos.
They are not. That's what I thought you were going to say with deer, because that is scary. I would be nervous about that.
Yeah.
No, Mark, your fear is definitely valid. And like you said, being from West Virginia, I forgot how prevalent deer are here. We have visited a number of times over the past 7 years of being in Brazil, and I have seen more deer in the 2 weeks, or I guess the 4 weeks we've been in the U.S., but like the 2 or 3 weeks we've been between Ohio and West Virginia, there are so many deer, and I'm just like, dude, someone needs to take care of it. It's like an infestation. But I definitely have had family and friends who have either been injured. I remember years ago that same situation you talked about, Mark, where someone hit the deer and it hit the oncoming car. We had a family friend who died because of that. The deer went right through the windshield and collided with the people inside and killed both people.
Oh gosh,
it is dangerous. And I've even heard of towns in West Virginia where the car shops, their business is literally replacing people's windshields, fenders, and everything from deer destruction, and that's how they stay in business. And that's definitely a valid animal to be afraid of. Yeah.
And then insect for me would be a toss up between anything from the wasp or yellow jacket family, because I've been stung by a wasp once. And I never
in the mouth.
Be stung. Well, I never got stung in the mouth.
Yeah,
it
didn't sting your
mouth,
but it was in your mouth.
Yeah, but I have been stung. There was one time a wasp or something crawled in between my sock and my leg. Crawled inside my sock and stung me, and not a fan.
Did you proceed to beat the crap out of yourself, like trying to destroy the wasp in your sock?
No, it was when I was a kid, so I was crying, basically. And so, yeah, not a big fan. And then definitely spiders. Anything that just from one bite can, kill you, not a fan. So some spiders are harmless, basically, to humans, but some of them are very deadly. Black widows, brown recluse, all those spiders, not a fan at all. So,
yeah, that is that. Well, Ronnie, thank you so much for that random topic. While you can stick around with us as we continue to delve into randomness, you are also free to get some rest. So,
I will tough it out for a little bit longer.
Fantastic. So, Mark, Patrick, either you two want to share something with us? Ask a question.
Sure. I can go.
Go.
Let's topic for today is
camping.
Area 51. So I'm sure you guys have heard that Facebook group Storm Area 51, they can't stop all of us. And as of the recording, there are 1 million Facebook users that are attending this.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Approximately 900,000 are interested, or AKA cowards.
I'm sorry, this is the dumbest meme I've ever seen.
No, so if you look at this Area 51, I mean, like if you just go to Twitter and you search Area 51, there are tons of memes that you can just go down the rabbit hole and watch and see these videos, these memes, it is hilarious just to see. I don't know if this is going to be some sort of joke or if there's actually people going to be showing up. In this day and age, you don't know, you can't believe the internet, but you never know how many idiots are out there. So much so that the Department of Defense actually responded to this Facebook group. They said the U.S. Air Force always stands ready to protect America and its assets. So does that mean that they're going to be using force? There
are signs outside posted in Area 51 that they will actually shoot you.
They will use deadly force. That's what it says.
Yes, they will shoot you.
Yep.
I mean, as much as I'd love to know what's in there, not a chance. I'm about to run across an open plane.
Yeah, it's more than just a storage shed for aliens. It's an actual, military training facility as well. So, and I'm sure they have plenty of protocols. So, unless you just want to get yourself killed, I would advise not storming Area 51.
So, Mark, you're not going? You're not coming with me?
I am not interested in that. I will watch on TV and see how many idiots decide to show up.
I'm totally interested to see how many people show up to that.
I know it's September 20th.
September 20th is the
Yep.
date. Oh man,
Yep.
I have to say I haven't seen much about this. I did see one like GIF or something of a man like wearing. I guess it's just like it was depicting a man just wearing jeans, carrying an assault rifle, running towards Area 51. That's the only thing I've seen. I want to hear your plan first, or their plan. What is the entry point? Like, are they literally just running like zombies at the fence and the walls?
My favorite meme.
Sneak in?
So there's a meme out there. It's my favorite meme that I've seen so far. It's that guy that's like smiling, and then the picture below him, he's like in awe. Like, so the meme says, when only one person shows up to Area 51, and the guy on the right, he's smiling. It's the U.S. government, and right below it, the U.S. government is like that shock face, and it's John Wick.
Oh, jeez.
I saw a video. I think it was on Facebook, and it was Area 51 training, and one of those dudes was in like those bodysuits. It was like bright neon green. And it's just this random dude like running on a treadmill with that guy on his back. like he's going to go in there and bust out an alien. He was training for it.
Gosh. So really, have they described on this Facebook page how they're going to do it, or their plan is just to literally storm the gates?
No, I think they're just going to storm the gates. They're just going to be assuming if there is going to be a bunch of people. There is just I'm assuming they're just going to walk, because if you've seen Independence Day, imagine just an open desert, because it's in the middle of nowhere, and if anyone's going to be going towards Area 51, you're going to be seeing them from miles away. So I don't know if they're going to be running in with RVs like Independence Day.
Oh my gosh.
Hopefully they like tear gas.
They're just going to be running like zombies.
That's crazy. That is totally crazy.
So dumb. Absolutely.
Do you guys think there's aliens in Area 51? Do you think there's a spacecraft there, or do you think it's actually like you said, Mark, a training facility?
I actually believe there are. First of all, I believe there are creatures from other planets, beings from other planets. I think there has been a lot of kind of evidence / news stories and things about crashes and things like that. I think like even if you go back to like Roswell, New Mexico, I think that was in the 70s. There's a lot of things that would indicate that there was a cover up. I think all of that stuff has probably gone somewhere. I I mean, I just refuse to believe that the Earth is the only planet with life on it. And to think that that is the case, I think is kind of crazy. But no, I think there very well could be a lot of secrets that the general public does not know about. And I've actually watched a documentary on Area 51. And over the years, there have actually been a lot of people that have previously worked at Area 51 that have come out and said what they were actually working on there and things like that. I mean, obviously people do weird stuff to get their 15 seconds of fame, but ultimately I don't think that everybody's lying when they say that.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I land in terms of aliens and all that kind of stuff. Is there a possibility? Maybe. Is the government hiding stuff? Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. But I'm not sure, honestly.
I would like to keep the secrecy, like the unknowing of what Area 51 is. I think is part of the fun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's actually other places other than Area 51 where there has been reported like spacecraft and stuff that have crashed has been taken. Like Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is one of the big ones that apparently, from what people have said who have worked there, came out there is an entire underground layer that is top secret where stuff has been taken, and they try to re-engineer things from the reports. Or reverse engineer, I guess.
Apparently they keep Transformers there.
It's possible.
That's right.
That'd be
true.
awesome.
I can actually tell you exactly what Area 51 is. Do you want to know what it is?
Let's hear it.
It is an arcade rail shooter that came out in the 90s.
That's how people are training for storming the gates.
Oh gosh,
I saw that
the
too.
perfect way to do it. I think for me that, I mean, I just can't go as far. I kind of am agnostic when it comes to aliens, which means I neither believe nor disbelieve. And I think aliens are possible. Like sometimes, people in the realm of Christianity or other religions or whatever will say that it would have some effect on the existence of God. And for me, God doesn't, the Bible doesn't say that aliens don't exist. So in terms of my faith and that kind of stuff, I don't see there being any contradictions or issues. So I think it can go either way. In terms of Area 51, I just think, I really believe that if they just let people right in, like there would be top secret stuff, but probably most of it is just, security, like government stuff that maybe has nothing to even do with aliens, or like it probably is just a bunch of random stuff. Like I was laughing with my wife thinking it was going to be like, if they got in there and got to the very center of Area 51, there would be like this little note and it just says, the aliens aren't here. It's like the first castle of Super Mario Brothers, where the aliens are in another
The princess
government
is in
facility.
another castle.
Yeah. And it's probably like the government's just some of them are probably just laughing like, oh yeah, the aliens and the aircraft and all that technology is actually in Canada or in South Dakota or something, or like totally different area. I don't think there's very much there that actually has to do with aliens. I just think, it's just, like you said, it's the secrecy of it all and people just wondering what could be. So.
All right.
Yep.
Cool.
Great.
Grand.
I'll jump in. Going next. All right. So, speaking of non-consequential, irrelevant transitions, there is...
Yes, we did speak about that. Good segue.
So, as with every video game, you typically have some good music to go along with that video game. The soundtrack is a lot of what makes a video game really good. It stirs up emotions in the player. It really helps to set the tone and set the stage for whatever game you're playing. I know in the early days of like, Atari and all that kind of stuff, but they didn't really have very much music. But as the technology progressed, they were able to incorporate music and all that kind of stuff. But I think video game soundtracks are an incredibly important part of telling a story, telling a narrative, and also creating emotional effect, just like they are in movies and in television and stuff like that. So it just kind of popped into my head talking about the idea of video game soundtracks, like for you guys who are big into video games, or maybe just casuals. What is your favorite video game soundtrack, and why is that the case? So to me, a couple of big ones stand out. First and foremost, it's no secret I'm a huge Zelda fan.
Yep.
I've absolutely loved the Legend of Zelda games since I was little. And obviously my favorite Zelda game is Ocarina of Time. It came out on the N64 in 1998, and the game was very revolutionary in terms of its 3D stylings and also integrating new gameplay. But a big portion of that game was all about music. The name of the game literally is centered around a musical instrument, and it was a major part of the gameplay of the game, and just the all of the soundtrack to that game is just so recognizable and burned into my brain.
Mm-hmm.
That I just anytime I hear the little melodies, because each melody that you would learn throughout the game actually did something to progress the game. Like it would teleport you to a certain place, or you could change the weather with it, or change it from night to day, or stuff like that, and that would progress the game. And change, because you'd have to do certain things during the daytime, or certain things at night, or you have to teleport, do fast travel, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of those little melodies are just kind of burned into my brain. And I absolutely love them. And so, actually the other day I introduced my wife to, she absolutely loves dubstep. And so there's a dubstep version of, Legend of Zelda music that's on Spotify, and she absolutely loves it, and she likes the fact that, because I can't stand dubstep, and so she's like, oh yeah, we can actually listen to dubstep together because it's Zelda. So yeah, I absolutely love the music from that game, and then also the music from all the Halo games. They just set the tone, and it's just a brilliant style of like very like ancient type music from like the the very Gregorian chant of the main theme, the kind of stuff.
Classic.
But between that and then like the orchestral / rock music type stuff that's in some of those games is just it just very much sets that tone of that outer space type universe. So what are your guys' favorite video game soundtracks, and why?
Well, along with you, Mark, when you mention gaming soundtracks, like video game soundtracks, the immediate first one that popped in my head was Legend of Zelda. I mean, I grew up, Nintendo was my first video gaming system. I know many episodes ago, quick plug for our video games episode where we talked about, I think, like our beginning journey in video games and all that. That was many episodes ago. I don't even remember which one. But
episode 3.
Episode 3?
Probably.
That seems like a good guess. But Legend of Zelda was definitely one of the first games I played. I actually didn't get into the very first Zelda very much because I found the lack of guidance and story kind of overwhelming. I was just like, I need guidance, even at a young age. I wasn't one of those kids. I knew a lot of kids. Not knew a lot of kids. I had heard of some kids that like used graph paper and wrote down a bunch of notes and all that stuff to know where all the bombs and the secrets were, but I was never one of those kids. But Zelda 2 was actually a great game that my dad and I bonded to. He actually played most of it because it got really hard. I was only like 7 or 8 years old, and when he played it, I think somewhere around there, I was in single digits, and my dad got really addicted to it and really into it, and so I would just watch him play, and that music, like you said, gets etched into your mind. Now, of course, with my dad, he didn't last very long over the whole scheme of things. Like, that was the last Zelda game that he played because back in the day with Nintendo, it didn't have a very solid way to save. You had to hold down the reset button, then hit the power button while holding down the reset button, and then let up the power button, and then let off the reset button. And if you didn't do it long enough or the exact same way, the battery in the cartridge would short out, and you would lose all your save information. And my dad got to the next to last boss in Zelda 2, and he lost everything. And that was like the last time he seriously tried to play video games. Now, what's funny is this past week, I got my dad to sit down and play Zelda 2 with me. Like, it was really cool. Like, we were
nice.
When he picked us up from where we ate at Bob Evans, one of the things I talked to him about, I was like, Dad, we have to play Zelda 2. Because they had just recently gotten a Nintendo Classic. And so, like, the whole family, my mom, my sister, my dad, like, we just kind of traded the controller off, and we got through the first castle together. Of course, I was the one that had to do it, being the only person in the room that, like, plays video games, on a daily or weekly basis. But that was such a special moment to get to do that with them. And, my dad played a lot of it, and he was intrigued by it, laughing. We were laughing together about it. But the soundtrack for that is so amazing. I know that when what's the Wii one? The one for Wii that came out.
Skyward Sword?
Skyward Sword. I know that one for some people who are Zelda fans, it's lower on their list. But I really enjoyed not just the game of Skyward Sword, but the soundtrack, the 25th anniversary, where they broke out the actual orchestra playing that music. Like, that is one of my favorite CDs or albums or whatever you want to call it, soundtracks. I love listening to that orchestral rendition of the iconic Zelda music from Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past, Skyward Sword, all of it. It's so amazing. The other one that I would mention, a more recent one that actually is connected to Halo, is the God of War soundtrack.
Yes.
Man.
Oh, yes.
The Nordic voices and the instruments they use, it's like, it just, you just feel like you're there just based off the music alone. Like, it's awesome, amazing music. Like, just both Zelda and the God of War soundtrack is just like, it just screams adventure. Like, you're just a part of something that is so huge and so epic. So those are the two that came to mind for me. How about you, Patrick?
Well, for me, like you had said, the first one that came to mind is God of War.
Nice.
I don't listen to music very often. The stuff that I listen to is more podcasts. But when I do listen to music, it normally is video game soundtracks. And the biggest one is that God of War. God of War from 2018 is just so good. Like, I have Amazon Music, and just that first song, where you have that Nordic, chant, and it's just it's so good. Like I can't say that I'm a music guy by any stretch of the imagination. I just like stuff that sounds good to me, and the God of War soundtrack is got to be up there as one of the greatest video game soundtracks of all time,
for sure.
Along that is, and also in 2018, the Red Dead Redemption 2 soundtrack. playing that game, Red Dead Redemption 2 was one of the games that I played the most in all of my games I've played in my entire gaming career. Red Dead Redemption, I put in over a couple hundred hours of that game, and what really makes games is that soundtrack. If that soundtrack if there's not a good sound to the game you're playing, it kind of gives it a little. It's kind of off-putting. But with Red Dead Redemption, I mean, they had like Willie Nelson in there, and it's so good from beginning to end. Especially, I mean, like if you haven't listened to the Red Dead Redemption 2 soundtrack yet, it just released within the past week or two. Give it a listen. It is really good. It's something that you can just have on in the background as you're doing whatever, and you'll feel like it's like one of those soundtracks where you're gonna feel at peace, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. It's very, very soothing soundtrack. And both of those, it's crazy. Both of those came out in 2018. Another one that I really liked was the Uncharted soundtrack.
Oh yes, totally thought of that. So good.
Yeah, it's all instrumental, and just that opening theme. That's just the theme alone really like sets the tone for that game.
Yep, definitely.
I really enjoy that one.
More adventure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it goes, but whatever. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
so good.
Exactly the way it goes.
Exactly. Just like it.
I can't do it, but yeah, that sounds way better than I could do it. But yeah, that one. But my number one overall game soundtrack is the Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And
man.
And you guys have played Vice City, I'm assuming.
So good. Yes, definitely.
Set in the 80s, and there are so many great 80s songs out there from all different genres. So in Grand Theft Auto Vice City, like they had radio stations. Like when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out and then Vice City, I mean, they had radio stations where you had rock, you had rap, you had classical, but all the ones from Vice City were straight from the 80s. In the 80s, I mean, like that is an era that is going to live on forever.
Yep.
I'm looking at the Grand Theft Auto Vice City soundtrack because I haven't played Vice City in it's got to be 15 years at least.
Yeah.
I think it came out maybe in 2002 or something like that.
Yep, that's when I played it.
Yeah, I mean, like they have like 2 Live Crew, Run DMC, Grandmaster Flash, Hall and Oates, NXS, Michael Jackson, Yes, The Outfield, Lionel Richie, what else? Another Michael Jackson song, Kool and the Gang, Twisted Sister, Motley Crue, Quiet Riot, The Cult, Iron Maiden. I mean, like
they got so many bands. That's like impossible now to get that many like A-list bands from the 80s in a video game.
Right?
It's crazy.
It was so good. And I would play that game and I would just drive around listening to the music on the radio.
Yeah.
Just doing nothing but driving around. But yeah, that would be my number one video game soundtrack for sure.
Good stuff.
Cool.
Nice,
Indeed.
Nice. So, Lucas.
All right.
Your topic, sir.
Before I get in my topic, I totally forgot to mention something very important. Now, I will say, with my like visit to the U.S. and kind of touring around Indiana, West Virginia, and Ohio, one of the aspects of it that I kind of knew was going to be a focus, but this time around, for some reason, like I've totally gone all in on it, is just experiencing the food and drink of the U.S. Like there are just so many foods and so many drinks that I don't get in Brazil. I mean, not to poo-poo on Brazilian food and Brazilian drinks. There are many that are there that I love and adore. So many good foods and stuff, but there's just some tastes and some flavors in some restaurants and everything here in the U.S. that is just like I just have to do it every time I'm here. And as I mentioned, I went to Wendy's, got myself a spicy chicken sandwich, but I had a brand new experience actually today on the way to camp at the Wendy's. I encountered what I like to call the endless soda fountain, like the soda dispenser that has like every Coke product, every Fanta product, every
freestyle machine,
and it has everything, and then it has every flavor of everything. Like I had never ever seen such a soda pop machine in my life, and I was like, oh my gosh, where have you been all my life? Like I literally spent, when I discovered what it was all about. And for those, and probably most of you have used it before, but those that haven't, it's just a machine that is just one big, it's just like a black soda pop dispenser, a big, large black soda pop dispenser that has one spot for ice and drink in just one dispensing area, and has a computer screen, and you just press a button to choose your flavor, and it automatically changes it out, mixes it up, and puts it in your cup. And like, when I discovered that I could try everything, every flavor combination, I spent at least 15 minutes there. Like before I even ate my food, I spent 15 minutes there doing just like little shots of everything. Like I got
doing shots.
I literally was doing shots of pop. Like I got to the Cokes, I went through the Cokes, I went through the Fantas. Like Dave Thomas has his own brand of like orange cream soda and berry root beer cream soda or something. Like there were all kinds of things that I tried. And in that, like trying different things, there was Barks, of course. So Marc, shout out to Barks. But they had Barks root beer, but you could make it extra vanilla. And I was in love. Like Barks, it's already got vanilla in it because it's root beer, but it was extra vanilla root beer. It was amazing, and I realized when I drank it that I cannot live without the Barks vanilla root beer for the rest of my life. I have to have it every chance I get. With that, let me segue to my question. What can't you live without in your life? Now, to make it a little easier to answer this question in this little discussion, we're gonna hit 3 different topics, and then at the very end, I'll give you time for honorable mention. And I have my own answers, so that'll give you time to think. But to start it out, I want to start with food or drink. Food and or drink. What is the food or the drink that when you think about it, like you cannot live without? Now, I started to think specifically, and I actually started thinking of like a number of things in my thought process of thinking about this, and I came to the realization that when it comes to food and drink, I cannot live without sugar. I need the sweetness. And so whether that is desserts, whether that is like sweet tea, like the commonality in all the foods that I find to be amazing, ham loaf even, the sweet sugar glaze that comes on top of it is sugar. So that is my food or drink. How about you guys?
For me, it's Mountain Dew.
Mountain
I have,
Dew.
I would say,
Do the dew.
1 a day.
Are you serious?
At least.
Since when?
Yeah. Everything about Mountain Dew. I love it.
Like when did that 1 a day start? Like high school, middle school?
It's always been there. I don't remember the day where I didn't have Mountain Dew. That's how long I've been drinking it.
That is crazy. That's some dedication right there. Mountain Dew.
For me, it would be Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
That's good stuff.
Sugar.
Yep. Yeah.
Sweet thing. Like that. Iced
Tissue
coffee.
boy.
Tissue boy.
I got the other day I got Shugs with a almost like with a Z almost.
Shugs. What's up, Shugs? Nice. How about an object? What is an object that you could not live without? The object I thought of was a toilet. I cannot live without the toilet. And the reason I thought about that is like when I was thinking about objects you can't live without, I was like, what is something that there have been times when I couldn't access a toilet or access a place to, use the bathroom, whatever, and that I've suffered. And that's been like driving down the road, not finding a rest stop, or just being someplace where, waiting for a bathroom stall to be available. Like, I cannot live without a toilet. So, how about for you guys? What is an object that you don't think you can live without?
I guess for me it would be, well, I guess they're kind of two objects hand in hand, if that makes sense. Soap
One
and
for each hand?
yes, one for each hand. Well, technically, you combine the hands when you
To
do
make
it.
a pancake?
Yep, pancakes and waffles. In fact, it's important to do both.
Important to pancake and waffle. That is correct.
Yes. So soap and water.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all know my, the situation with me and the OCD and the germophobia and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have, soap and water, unless I went to hand sanitizer. But that's apparently not near as effective. So yeah, for sure, soap and water.
I am right there with you, Mark. And so for me, like when I wake up in the morning, I take a shower every morning. If I don't take a shower, especially like when I'm camping and I don't take a shower like first thing in the morning, my whole day is wrecked. Like
amen to that.
It ruins the rest of the day.
That is
it's
so true.
It's something I do every morning. And it wakes me up, and two, I feel like I'm ready and clean for the rest of the day. Like some people take showers at night, to get all the dirt and grime or whatever after out of their system and all that stuff. But like I have a desk job and all that stuff, so I don't get sweaty, I don't get gross or anything like that. But yeah, I need a shower every morning.
Man, that is such a good one because I cannot agree with you more. I'm the exact same way. If I do not get a shower in the morning, like it is so hard to start the day. Like I could drink 20 gallons of coffee. I could, hang out with the greatest people in the world. But if I do not get a shower, the day is not going to be everything it can be. Like I got to get it. You got to get it, man.
Yep.
And, I live, being in Brazil, I live in a country where most of the people, they take showers at night. Like they get home after work and they take a shower. And then and then they get up the next day, they don't take a shower. Like there are so many people that come to church or I see at work or the grocery store and they got like bedhead and you can tell they have not taken a morning shower. And I judge them because there's nothing like a morning shower. It just,
and there's times when I am like, if I'm playing like softball and I am out, it's like a night game, maybe 11 o'clock game, kind of like what Ronnie does with volleyball. I will take a shower at night, but when I wake up in the morning, I still take a shower.
Still got to take a shower. Yeah, that's the thing. Yep. Is there's nothing that can happen that negates the morning shower. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
That's a good one. The third one that I wanted to ask you guys, the third thing that you can't live without, quote unquote, can't, is a guilty pleasure. What is a guilty pleasure that you have in life that you cannot live without? Now, when I was thinking about this, I immediately thought of video games. But given that over the past few weeks, I have I've not played hardly any video games, I realized that I had to go a little broader, and the guilty pleasure that I can't go without is games in general. Like, I feel like because I haven't had access to video games, I've compensated by playing a ton of exploding kittens, and every moment I get, I'm like, hey, who wants to play a game? Anyone want to play a game? Hey, let's not have awkward conversations about life. Let's play a game. So for me, my guilty pleasure is definitely games. I just love how, games can bring people together, and it can kind of be an icebreaker. It can give people something to focus on, and then from that, you can have conversation and kind of segue to other conversations and stuff. So in general, whether it's video games, board games, whatever, I cannot live without those games. How about you guys? Guilty pleasure.
guilty pleasure. Something I feel bad about or guilty about.
Well, I guess it's not like I kind of use guilty pleasure loosely, like it's totally selfish or it's not necessarily a very, I don't know, like it's like for me as an adult to tell people, oh, I love games, it can sometimes be like socially unacceptable. It's like grow up, be an adult. So I'm guessing.
Yeah,
I'm
I guess I would be in that boat.
The outside pressure.
Yeah, I guess I would be in that boat then. So definitely video games for sure. I'm a copycat, but
no worries.
Going with that.
I mean, all most of us, we have, we enjoy games, but for me, like I couldn't live without it for sure. Patrick, you got anything comes to mind?
I don't want to say video games as well, but I mean, like, going back to camping for 3 days and I come back on Sunday and I played games for 8 straight hours.
And you were just like, I feel so good.
Because I needed to get it in because I missed it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally understand. For sure. So are there any other things, like if someone said, just randomly asked you, what can't you live without? Do you have any honorable mentions that you'd like to share?
My phone.
Yeah, that would definitely be an object, but yeah, the phone.
Superhero movies.
Ooh, that's a good one. How about for...
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I only go to the movie theaters pretty much to watch superhero movies.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty much why I go to the movies.
Oh, speaking of that, I forgot to mention I watched Spider-Man on Friday, and it was amazing.
Yay!
It was amazing. I like it.
Yeah, it was spectacular.
It was... I can't think of the other ones, but splendid. The Splendid Spider-Man.
Splendid.
Splendid. Oh, shoot, I had one, and I just forgot it. Another thing that you guys said something, and it reminded me. Can't live without. What did you say? You said Marvel superheroes, and then not Marvel. You just said superhero movies. What did you say before that, Pat?
Phone? My phone?
Oh, your phone. Yes. Nope, I still forgot. The one thing, I'm just going to move on from that. The one thing, the one thing my wife mentioned that I thought was a really good one and very deep and yet so true is she said she can't live without laughter.
Whoa.
That's so true. Can't live without that laughter. It would be
it's a good one.
Near impossible. I definitely could not live without laughter. And I told her even that when she tells people why she married me, she says one of the reasons is I make her laugh. And I'm like, that's so true. If I didn't make you laugh, what would be left? And then there was this silence.
What would be left?
And then we laughed together about it.
Hey!
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, there you go. So,
Awesome.
You listeners, feel free to reach out to us. Maybe find us on our Discord, find us on Twitter. What can't you live without? Or what are your thoughts on Area 51? Or what animals and insects are you afraid of? Or what are your favorite video game soundtracks? We would love to hear from you, hear what you think about it.
So, real quick before we close things out, we actually have, and I'm just gonna pick some of the more quick fire ones.
Speaking of community,
we're running out of time. Yeah, speaking of the community for sure. So he changed his name, Bernabe Butterteeth.
Gross.
What?
That sounds disgusting.
I don't know how to feel about that.
I don't know.
He says cargo shorts, yes or no? So Patrick, I feel like we kind of know the answer to this.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
What's wrong with cargo shorts?
Resounding yes from me. You got extra pockets. In this day and age when phones are getting bigger and flatter, you got to have big pockets to hold them. So,
yeah.
All about them cargo
True
shorts.
Story.
Yeah, I don't wear shorts that often, other than maybe to bed. Like I'll wear I have pajama type shorts.
I thought you were going to say you wore cargo shorts to bed. I'm like,
Not cargo
what
shorts.
do you,
No.
you have 50 million tissues. You want to be ready to blow your nose, so you wear cargo shorts, fill them with tissues.
Oh gosh, pocket 3 is down. Gotta go to pocket 5.
Pocket 3.
No, I guess I don't mind wearing cargo shorts, but if I were to wear shorts, I wouldn't single out cargo shorts, I guess. But I just don't wear them that often. I wear jeans.
How about cargo pants that turn into cargo shorts when you zip around the kneecap?
Yeah, I wore those when I was in middle school, but other than that, no, I don't wear those.
I had a pair of those babies in college. They were awesome.
Nice.
Those were genius.
Pure genius. I should have bought 10 pairs of those pants/shorts so I could always have them.
It's you know what? It's too hot. Let's unzip these. Now it's shorts.
Zip, shorts.
And then put these shin pads into my cargo shorts.
Exactly. You got plenty of pockets. Perfect.
Okay. So next question is from Corey Smith.
Hey, Corey Smith.
Yep. So
Agent Smith.
He says, he asks if you could pick one car to have, what would it be? Of course, we know the answer to that question, Pat.
1969 Chevy Nova SS.
There it is.
I am so surprised.
It's like you've thought about it or something.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
I would want a Tesla for sure. Those things are amazing. I love the technology aspect of it, and they're very, cost effective in terms of, how much mileage you get out of them because of the battery and the electric car part of it. And they're just I think they're really cool cars all around. So I would love to have that.
For me, just because it's the car I've driven around the most since visiting the U.S., because my father and mother-in-law have been so gracious in allowing us to use their vehicle, but a Subaru Outback. Really, when it comes down to it, it doesn't have to be the Subaru Outback, but that's the only car that I've driven since being back in the U.S. that has the most magical cruise control I've ever experienced in my life, where it has cameras on the front and sides and not literally, because it's not as much. I think Tesla has this ability to drive itself, so maybe I would want a Tesla too. But it almost can just drive itself. Once you set the cruise control, it has cameras that will keep track of what's in front of you, and it will adjust its speed accordingly. Now, sometimes that backfires when I get behind a car and I don't realize how slow they're going, and I look at the speed and I'm 10 below the speed limit, and I have to go to the left lane for the car to realize it can go fast again, and then it'll pick up and I'll pass the car. But just some of that technology, I want some of that. It's so good.
All right, and finally, the old SHPLIG, a.k.a. Dopalicious, a.k.a. Mike Doherty on Twitter.
Hey, Mikey.
He asked, so he mentions that someone last episode sang a bit of, I believe it was Summer Lovin' from Greece.
That's right.
In regards to summer. So it reminded me of my favorite cover song, which is what he posted is a YouTube link to a metal version of You're the One That I Want from Greece.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh. I have not listened to it yet, but I'm sure that would be quite interesting to hear.
Yeah,
definitely.
And so his question is, do you have a favorite cover song, and does it top the original? For me, I would have to say one of my favorites is the Atari's version of Boys of Summer, which was done by Don Henley originally. I love that version. I don't know if it's better than the original. I just like their take on it. And then also the most recent song that I think honestly tops the original is Disturbed's version of the song Sound of Silence.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Their rendition is so good. You're right.
it just brings a whole new dimension to that song. I mean, it was already kind of, Simon and Garfunkel's version of it is dark, but also very light at the same time because it's very folky. They're a very folky group. And Disturbed kind of brings their own, even more darker take on it. And it just makes it sound a lot more epic. So, yeah, that definitely tops it for sure. Patrick, you got a favorite cover song?
Yeah, I mean, like, just thinking, there's Nirvana did some covers. I think The Man Who Sold the World.
Yep.
Is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yep.
And I've already said that before.
Good one.
But Metallica's Turn the Page.
Yeah.
It's leagues. I mean, I think the original was Bob Seger.
Yep.
And Metallica's rendition it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So much better than Bob Seger. Nothing to take away from Bob Seger, but Metallica is one of my favorite bands of all time, and they did such a good rendition of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Lucas, how about you?
I'm sure. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there's been times where I've heard cover songs of older songs, and I kind of feel like sometimes modernizing it actually works out. I try to, keep to the classic and the originals, but there are a number of them, but I'm blanking on them. But there is one that I remember, again, mentioning Simon and Garfunkel. I like Michael W. Smith's cover of Bridge Over Troubled Water. And
nice.
I don't really care for the falsetto, good Simon and Garfunkel stuff that they do a lot in their music. Their music's classic, but sometimes they sing a little too much like, girls. Not that I have anything about, anything wrong with girls singing, but you know what I mean.
Now that you've climbed out of that hole.
Yes. I'm pretty sure I dug it deeper. 12:45 in the morning. That's all I got to say. 12:45 in the morning.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much to all of our community members who posted questions or comments on the Discord and Twitter. Thank you so much. And also thank you to those who, unfortunately, we didn't get to read on the podcast.
We love you.
We love you. They did get read, but we are kind of pressed for time at the moment. So maybe next time. So to close out our discussion on random stuff, I guess I'll transition into our auditions for this week's Good Morning Guys morning playlist. And so, as always, you can find the Good Morning Guys morning playlist on Spotify as well as the Apple Music app. Thank you so much, Bernabe, for
yeah,
adding those songs
Mr.
on the
Buttertooth.
Apple Music side. Yep.
Buttertooth.
That's so gross.
That was me eating corn on the cob the other day, man. I slathered that thing with so much butter and salt. It was amazing.
So, yes, I could definitely agree that butter on corn on the cob is awesome. But anyway.
And salt.
Yes.
so
Butter, salt teeth.
This week. Wow.
Barnaby butter salt teeth.
Okay, so our additions this week are the 2018 God of War theme from Mr. Bear McCreary, the main title theme.
Fantastic.
Nice.
The Halo theme from Mr. Marty O'Donnell, who has done most of the Halo games. I don't think he's done all of them. I don't think he did Halo 5. And maybe not Halo 4 either. I can't remember. Because I think when they transitioned from Bungie to 343, he kind of pieced out. So yeah, those two songs. And then since we had a bit of talk about aliens this week, I put in the song Aliens from Coldplay. It's a pretty trippy but good song. And then my personal pick from our video game discussion again is the Gerudo Fortress / Gerudo Valley music from Ocarina of Time. You just, it's so hard to listen to that song and not, just want to jam out. Because it's very Spanish in tone, and it's just a real nice listen. I absolutely love hearing that song all the time. So I definitely encourage you to listen to it on the playlist. And yeah, so those are our additions for the week. I hope they help you to get your good morning on.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's all for this randomness morning we have ever had in July of 2019. If you yourself enjoyed this discussion and hang with us, the Good Morning Guys, we would appreciate some love by taking a few minutes to give us a positive but honest review and rating on iTunes or whatever podcast service you use that allows such written reviews and ratings. We have crossed 30 reviews into 30 reviews, so both Ronnie and now Patrick owe us a little something crazy. I think it should be Ronnie first, considering 10 reviews ago, he was supposed to do something crazy. So, here's hoping. I'm not holding my breath because I would pass out and die, but here's hoping he does something crazy. Also, we do have a review from TTVBIGGRED. Are you guys familiar with TTVBIGGRED? They left us a review.
I don't know.
On Thursday. And the title of their review is Excellent. That's the title of the review. The title of the review is not excellent. The title that they wrote was, quote unquote, excellent. Excellent! They said, fantastic podcast where friends come together and chat about life, entertainment, and video games. Thank you for that short and sweet review, TTV Big G Red.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Much appreciated.
You're our favorite listener this week, and you have won $1. It's in the mail. Keep checking.
You get 5 internets.
Yes, 5 gold coins. But if you care to brighten our day just like TTV Big G Red did, and also somehow help us reach a new audience, please take the time to rate and reviews. We would love it. If you have already done so, thank you so much. You're the best. Now, if you just want to go the extra mile, grab that friend or family member's cell phone, find us on their podcast service of choice, subscribe, and leave a rating and review for them also. They will be eternally grateful. Also, remember, if you'd like to join in on future episodes or connect with us in our most lovely community, check out the show notes for our info. Check out our Discord server, free to use messaging board app that's filled with a wide range of dad jokes and heartfelt conversations. If Twitter's more your thing, our handle is @the GMG Podcast, or if you're feeling super adventurous, you can even call us at what number, Ronnie? That's what I thought. Well, just so you know, Ronnie snorted out 929 GMG Guys. Call in, leave a message, ask a question, and you can join us on the show. It would be fantastic to have you. Beyond that, talk at you again next week on podcast services around the globe as we give our early impressions of 2019. And as we have crossed over into the second half of the year, whether it's about video games, movies, vacations, or embarrassing moments, we're going to share our early contenders for the best of the year 2019 so far. Alrighty then, Pat, Ronnie, Marc, and also you, our friends and family that also happen to be our listeners. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, and as you work, and as you game.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome. When your friends don't abandon you
that
like
should be on
Ronnie
our-
did.
That should be on our or whatever Marc does. What is that thing you do? What should be on that list?
That should be on the list. Just put it straight on there and just rename it
Should put
to
our theme on there.
GMG theme song. Everything is awesome. So we can get copyright striked.
Now that we're at 30 reviews, I know what I'm going to do.
Do you?
But I'm not going to say it until Ronnie's on here because I want him to do his thing first.
Exactly. Will yours inspire
But
his?
August 9th is when I'm doing mine.
August 9th.
August 9th.
So what happens if you do yours before Ronnie does his?
Then he has to do 2 of them.
I think you have to shave his head.
Or he... I'll do it.
Yes.
I'll be more than happy to do it.
Or his cats. Shave his cats. If
Well, he got a new cat.
did he? Now he has 3?
Yeah, that's why he's sick probably.
Why didn't he-
He's allergic to cats like I'm allergic to camping.
Why didn't he tell us? I feel like
Because he didn't even know where he was.
oh, that's
He didn't
true.
even know what
It's like,
podcast he was on.
you guys really confused him with that nerdy Power Ranger
We
talk.
talked about Power Rangers for like 15 minutes.
It really was.
He's
It was
like,
a
"I don't
long
know where I
15
am."
minutes for him, poor guy.
I was so excited about talking about Power Rangers
Like,
for
go,
15
go,
minutes.
Power Rangers.